Welcome to Web Handling. My name is Dave Roysham. I am super excited to begin a new series on finding things, more specifically web handling things. Things that can help your career, things that can help your company. In this first episode, I will describe the ideal progression to building a solid foundation in web handling. Then we will preview upcoming shows on what to do in an emergency when you haven't had time to build that solid foundation. In other words, you need good answers right now. Let's start with economic motivation. Why should you, as well as most everyone around you, know a bit about web handling? This question needs to be asked because knowing things costs time and money. What's the payback for these efforts? The answer is that the payback can come from reducing waste, delay, or customer complaint. Here is a list of some of the more important areas where the sciences of web handling can help you and your company. That starter and list includes baggy webs, curl, dimensional control, position control, web breaks, winding defects, wrinkling, and more. How many of these problems do you or your supplier or your customer have? My guess is that most of you have most of these problems from time to time. Those working in paper may see all of these problems. Others may note that web handling problems may be in the top 3 causes for their plant. That is why you and most everyone around you should know a bit about web handling. The question is, how do you get there? What I will first discuss is an ideal progression in 3 steps. By ideal, I mean fastest, cheapest, and most reliable way to get there. In a moment, I will then outline what to do if you haven't undergone that ideal progression and you are faced with a web handling problem. First things first, you need a bit of working experience around machinery. Ideally, that bit would be perhaps a year or 2. We wouldn't want to wait much longer before moving on to the next steps because the very real likelihood that you may learn a few bad habits along the way. So, what work qualifies? Well, just about anything having to do with webs or web machinery. That list includes, but is not limited to, working as an operator, technician, quality assurance, customer service, product process engineer, supervisor, manager, and so on. There are 2 things that experience will give you that are essential to moving on to step 2. The first is the local names of things. I emphasize local because unfortunately many plants use non-standard language to communicate amongst themselves. We will fix that in step 2, but for now we at least know some important words and technologies. The second is issues related to waste, delay, and customer complaint, such as we've just listed. During that initial experience, we should have gotten a rough sense as to what the top 3 problems are for your machine or your customer. The next step is to literally go to school. The best example of this is my award-winning and trademarked Web 101 class that has been taken by more than 5,000 people. You can get that training in public venues, such as hosted by the Association of Roll-to-Roll Converters. You can also bring me into your plant. Finally, you can get that same content as video on demand. There are other current instructors, as well as instructors that have retired. I will list some of the current instructors here as a service to you, even though in some ways these colleagues are also my competitors. I also list them because if you're truly serious about learning web handling, it may be best to go to more than one school so that you get different viewpoints on the same subject, even though the basics will be the same, because we're all working with the same laws of physics. Finally, I list competing schools because I am confident that my training is most suitable for most students. This is in part because I teach engineering concepts without using equations, thus making the material approachable by a wide range of workers who may not have a degree in engineering mechanics. For those who like equation, my course shows you where they are found as footnotes and slides, rather than as primary content. The last step to a really solid foundation in web handling would be to assemble some really helpful resources. That would, of course, include the must-have web handling handbook as well as the ultimate role in web defect troubleshooting guide. That would also include databases for literature and videos. Finally, that would include contacts that might be able to help you. These will be covered in upcoming shows in this series. We have just spent a few minutes talking about ideal progressions to building an ideal web handling foundation. Unfortunately, many people will find themselves with a web handling problem and have not, for whatever reason, built that ideal foundation. Now what? What we mean is to skipping right to step 3, where we need answers right now from a resource that has already built a solid web handling foundation. I will show you how to do that in this series. However, there are 2 huge risks. The first is that you will not know if the answer is correct because you don't know web handling so well. Second, perhaps even more important, is that you will be unprepared for the inevitable next web handling problem. I hope you have enjoyed this introduction to finding out about web handling. Stay tuned for next week's show where we will discuss the most important collections of web handling knowledge, books. If you have a topic you would like to hear about, let me know in the comment section below. If you found anything interesting or useful here, please like and share and subscribe. See you next time.